Hello. So in this video, I want to introduce you to the interface of Microsoft Teams. Now, the first thing you can see here on the page is a dark blue column, a white column, a big activity area, and a horizontal column. So I'm going to explore these in more or less detail as I progress through this little talk. The first thing I want to draw your attention to then is this. Notice at the moment that the Teams block here is highlighted, and within this it shows you the different teams that I belong to. And the important thing here for tutors is that I have 1, 2, 3 teams which directly correspond to my modules and my module codes. So ENGL 641, ENGL 662 and ENGL 652. So I am using Teams as a means of directly communicating with my students, and the team name has the same name as the module. The other teams here are administrative ones. This one, for example, is for all the MA tutors involved on our 2 MA programs. This is staff-student liaison committee we call course feedback committee. So I belong to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams, and these are all actioned by clicking on this button. Let's leave that for a moment though. I'm going to come back to that later, and let's have a look at how these other ones are different. The first one then to look at is the activity button. If I click on that, you will see that the white column changes, and the white column here basically represents any kinds of interactions that I have been involved with from any team in a chronological time order. I've been involved, or I've been messaged by Monica in the champions team, by a student in the 662 team, and these are then all the interactions that I've had. The useful thing about this is that although you cannot use a search on this, you can use a filter. So if I filter and if I type 662, then I just get all the 662 interactions. If I search on 641, I get all the 641 interactions here. Okay, so that then is a little run through the way the activity button works. Now let's go on to the chat button. Okay, so again I click on chats and the white column changes. Now the important thing about chat is that it sits outside of any teams that you have created. So let's just go back to Teams for a minute. Now within Teams, there is a membership to each of these. And these members have enrolled to the team or have been enrolled to the team through different mechanisms, which I explore in a different video. But let's say, for example, this 641 team has 22 students in it, the number of students on the module. This 662 student team has, I think, 47 students in it. This one, I'm not sure, may have 60 students in it, for example. So all those students are registered against the team here, any one of these teams. So each team is populated by different personnel. Now, if we go back to chat, chat is rather different from that, because chat, although it appears here within the team software, it actually sits outside of the team software in terms of whom you can contact. So, certainly within chat, I can contact a specific member of any one of the personnel in these teams. I can do that. So let's say I know a student's name. Her name is Emma. Okay, there she is. And I can send her a message down here. Hi, Emma. Just a test. Please ignore. There we go. So I can get that there. However, you can, within the chat tool, actually access anybody within the university. So let's say, and it's important to notice that the actual writing editor is for the chat is accessed through this little icon here. It's easily missed. But let's go on to it. And let's say I want to contact someone I know in the English Language Centre. There we go. Now this person, Mark, is not registered to any of my teams, but he's just a member of university personnel. And so the good thing about chat is that it picks up on all registered staff and students across the university, and you can send them an individual chat. And this chat then will be private between you and that particular person. So this goes on outside of Teams. Okay, so now let's go on to the Teams icon itself, because this is the main one. So you can see my teams here, and let's explore these in a little bit more detail. I want to focus on this one, INGL 662 DTLT, which basically means Digital Technologies for Language Teaching. It's a module that I convene. If we click on this, what we can see here are a set of subdivisions. We have general, various groups, and setup. Now these subdivisions are called channels. And the purpose of channels is to enable specific groups of people within the team to actually collaborate with each other. Now, by default, when you make a new team, it automatically creates one channel for you, the general channel, and here it is. Basically, you can do with this channel whatever you want to. What I mean is you can use it for whatever purposes you want to, for whatever general communication you want to. I see it at the moment as a bit of a kind of general repository, because as I've been developing this, I've noticed that maybe it's better to have channels which have a name which indicate the purpose of a communication or a collaboration. You will also see here that there's another one at the bottom. The general one, you can't change the name, it's there by default. This one I have added myself and I've given it a name. You will notice that the team setup channel and the general channel do not have a padlock next to them. This is because these are open to all members of the 662 team. what that means is that anybody can see and access the communication. The ones in the middle are locked. And the reason they're locked is because within each of them are groups of 3 or 4 students who have expressed a wish to work together on a particular collaboration project. So if we go into this one, for example, and if we look at Manage Channel and look at the members, we can see 4 students have kind of self-assigned to belong to this one. Now, in the future, these 4 students will be working together on collaborative projects, but what they do cannot be seen by any of the other group members in the other channels. And that's the same, of course, for each of the other groups as well. Now, when we're in a channel, it's then important to look at the big grey area, which is the activity area, and the horizontal area across the top. Now you can see at the moment that I'm clicked on group 1 here, and there is nothing in the grey area. This is because it's a new group. It has members assigned to it, but there is no activity here yet. So what we need to do is go back to a group or a channel where I know there has been some activity. So let's for now go to this one. So then in the setup channel here, this is accessed by all the students in the team, and this is what I use to begin initial communication with all my students in the group. And there were 1 or 2 experiments. We can scroll right up to the top, and I was using this setup channel just to make sure that students were in a position to communicate with me. So you can see here all the different interactions with all the different students, and I was using these interactions just to test the communication. Okay. So you can see the activity, and then as we progress it becomes more text-based. If I look at another channel just for a moment where you can see more text type activity, if I click on this one, if I click on this one, you can see that there's much more discussion-based interactivity. But let's go back to the DTLT channel for a moment, the DTLT team and the team setup. Okay, and what we can see across the top here are various activity types. Posts initiates the conversations or the discussions. Files gives anyone access to the files that are uploaded. And then there are various other activity areas. At the moment, I have not had a use for them, and so there may well be future videos about this. But just to say that if I click on plus, I can add other apps which then enable any particular members of one channel to use. However, let's stick with channels for a moment. Not these activities, but channels. And let's go back to another module or another team. Let's click on this one, which is another one of my teaching modules. If I click on this, you can see that within it, there are other channels, and I've started to arrange or label these channels in terms of the sorts of activity I'm expected the students to engage in. Now, it's important to note that none of these channels are locked, which means that all the members of the team can see all the activity in all these channels, which is actually what I want them to do. So let's just click on this for a minute. General. Again, we have some general communication here. All about me. Now, in this one, I wanted to ask the students to begin a simulation of discussion or contributions, discussion contributions. So I asked them to type some personal data and then respond to each other. So this is simulating a kind of discussion. But here, the topic of the discussion is simply personal information. It's not an academic topic. But in the future, it will be an academic topic. Now, in this one, I wanted students to upload or to send me audio files of their experience of using technology. Now, you can see audio files using tech, audio files using tech, so that there is a connection here. But there's nothing in this area. Why not? Because at the moment we are clicked on posts, which is conversations, and no one has given a conversation here. Why not? Because, well, the purpose of this channel was not to converse or discuss. The purpose was to access audio files. So if we click here, then we have uploaded all different student audio files, and we can click on each of these. Let's, for example, click this one.
This is Sergio Moreno, and I'll just tell you of a more recent experience that I've had before I came here to Liverpool and teaching in the classroom.
So there you have it. There we can see one particular student's contribution. If I click Start a Conversation, I can actually begin to have a chat with Sergio about this particular contribution. Okay, so you can see here then that the channels themselves also relate to the kind of activity you want to use them for. Now, in this video, that's all that I really want to say about teams and channels. There are other aspects of this connected to the use of files, to file sharing and collaboration, but that will be a different video. So what I want to do now is move on to other parts of the dark blue column here. Okay, so here I am, and so let's now move on to assignments. Now the thing about assignments is that it has a direct, this assignments here has a direct relationship with this assignments in the channel. So let's just look at that for a moment. We're in the team DTLT. We open the team up, and if we click on General, by default there are a range of options available to us, one of which is assignments. So if we click on assignments, we are able to create assignments within the general channel. The assignment may have a range of formats, but I'm not going to look at that at the moment. Now at the moment, the assignments facility here, which as I have said is directly related to this assignments button here, the assignments facility is only possible within the general channel. So the assumption here then is that when you set an assignment, you are setting the assignment for the entire team to refer to. I think it may be a good idea in the future is if different assignments could be set for different groups. But that's not the case at the moment. And in fact, the reality is in most cases, maybe we do want all the different groups to respond to the same assignment. So what that means is that if the assignment is a collaborative task, which each group then has to respond to, they would need to access the assignment from this point within the general channel. Just to digress for one moment before I come back to assignments, you notice there is a plus here, which, as I've said, I think enables the addition of any of these apps to a particular channel. It's also possible for students to be able to upload their own apps from within any one group, as long as they are giving permission to do so. The way to give each group permission to upload apps is to go into the general team area. Here, more options, manage team, settings, member permissions, and allow members to add and remove apps. Let's tick that because I'd quite like them to have that ability anyway. So that then is just one aspect of permissions. You can see other aspects of permissions here, which maybe I'll do another video on later. So if we move back for a moment, remember I've digressed from assignments, and we have assignments over here. Basically, just as with activity, assignments on this side is a general repository for all the assignments that have been issued across all the teams within your Microsoft Teams application. So if I've set an assignment for 641, maybe here, and if I've set an assignment for 662, again here, then the assignments, all of them will appear in the assignments area. So this is just another point of access. The next thing to say is calendar. The good thing about calendar here is that it is directly associated and linked into Microsoft Outlook. and all your team members will pick up on it. So for example, if I want to make an appointment here, okay, I schedule it. Okay, I close it. You can see appointment is showing up in the calendar from within Teams. But then if I go to Outlook, and go to my calendar in Outlook, you can see the appointment appear here as well. So it's a second way of accessing Outlook, but directly from within Teams. Okay, let's move that back. So that's calendar. There are other features associated with calendar, particularly having meetings, but I'm going to leave that for now. Calls. This is similar to chats. It enables accessibility to everybody across the university. And if I want to contact someone, I can type the name here. Okay, and then I can give them a call. We'll see if Monica is available. It looks not. So not available at the moment, but that's the way it works. Okay, so that is calls. Again, files is a general repository for all the files that have been uploaded across all the teams. So if I go back to Teams, and if I suppose that there is a file in the 662 channel here. Okay, there's one. Okay, it would also be, I hope, listed somewhere here amongst one of these. Okay, so this is just another way of accessing any files that are part of a team and a channel structure. I'm going to leave the dots, I'm going to leave the apps, and I'm going to leave the help. So what I've done today then is given you an overview of some of the basic functionality of Teams. So I hope you found this useful.